California's Gold is produced in association with KCET Los Angeles and is seen statewide on California Public Television. This series is endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association.
California's Gold is brought to you by Ford, with a world of new ideas that make being out on the road more fun and more economical. Like Sync, the hands-free communication and entertainment system from Microsoft. It lets you order up practically anything you want to hear just by asking. And turn-by-turn navigation gets you exactly where you want to go. Ford hopes you enjoy traveling through California with Huell, perhaps in one of our remarkable new products.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell. Get ready for an adventure. Now let me set this up for you. Right now we're in the western part of Sonoma County. We're only about 7 miles from the ocean, about 50 miles north of San Francisco. And we've come to this beautiful little place. Boy, everybody's having a good time too. It's beautiful weather, there's a lot of energy in the air, and we're getting ready for an honest-to-goodness California adventure, because we're getting ready to go back in time. Not only are we going to be hearing some good music and eating some homemade barbecue, but we're going to be recreating a very important part of California's history. We're going to be seeing old-time history, hearing old-time history, reliving old-time history. Boy, we're going to have a lot of fun. And if you're curious about why we're here and what this adventure is all about, well, as always, you're invited to come along with us. We've come to Sturgeon's Mill in search of California's gold. Boy, I said we were going to be hearing history. We're hearing it, aren't we, Harvey?
We certainly are.
Your name is?
My name is Harvey Henningsen, and we are at Sturgeon's Mill, which has been here since 1923.
It's a lumber mill.
It's a lumber mill, and we come here and open this mill up as a working museum for 3 or 4 weekends a year.
So normally it's not operating.
Normally it's not operating, no.
But it is today.
It is today. We're stepping back in history, Huell.
Boy, we are, and I got to tell you, there is more energy going on around here right now. This is going to be, well, this is something I've never seen before, and I bet you most of our viewers, most Californians have never seen anything like this, have they?
All of this equipment is from the 1800s, Huell. It's all steam powered.
And it's all operating today.
It's all operating today.
Okay, we're starting off in a big way. I'm standing here with Steve. Steve, what's your last name?
Parmeter.
And you live in this area, don't you?
Cazadero, yeah.
And you've got with us here a
steam donkey.
A steam donkey. Now, people who've traveled around California have probably seen old steam donkeys sitting out in front of museums and courthouses, but we've never seen one actually operate. You've got this thing steamed up today, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, show us what it can do. Oh, look at this. Wow. Now, explain to everybody what this is all about, because look over here, we've got the...
That's your main line.
The main line going. Now, explain to everybody exactly what a steam donkey did.
It would get the logs out of the woods up to the mill or a place that they could put them on a truck or load a truck.
So the steam donkey's job, they would wrap this wire around the fallen trees, the cut trees,
yep,
and drag them through the forest to the mill.
Exactly.
Wow, so the steam donkey was a very important part of the whole milling operation.
Part of the first step, besides a mule.
Well, this probably replaced the mules in many ways, didn't it?
Yeah.
How did they get these things? Look at this, look at the smoke up here. Boy, the steam, boy, this is beautiful up here. How did they get these things out in the forest? These were heavy.
They tow themselves around if they needed to move them around in the woods.
Boy, look, here goes another whistle. There's something going on all over the place. And how many of these operating steam donkeys do you figure are still around in California?
There probably isn't a dozen.
In the whole state?
Probably, yeah.
How old do you figure this thing is?
It was built in 1905.
Wow, look at this. This is amazing. And these big, what do you call these things?
Drums.
Just these drums and all of this wire.
Yeah, wire rope.
The wire rope would be pulling these huge trees through the forest. Look up here, look at this, to the mill. And that's our next stop, from the steam donkey to the mill, just like in the old days. Step number 2, we have left the steam donkey. And Harvey, what's happening over here? This looks like freshly cut wood, logs, right out of the forest.
That's right. Well, this is the deck, right? The log deck right here.
Look at the size of these things. Can we walk up here? Watch your step, Cameron. Boy, these things, look at the size. Oh my gosh. These things are heavy. How do you learn how to do something like this? I don't want it to come back on us.
You keep paying attention.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay out of the way is probably the key.
They can roll back on you, can't
Absolutely. Get
they? There
you.
were a lot of hazards back then, weren't
Absolutely. A lot of them guys, they're the salt of the earth.
Yeah.
You know? They definitely earned their keep.
Boy, look at that. That's a skill right there, isn't it?
It's learning to trust each other and knowing how everybody works together out here. Most of the signaling is done with gestures, as you see there, or with the signal whistles here, because people can't hear each other over the equipment.
Wow. He just keeps pulling them in.
That's
one of the hardest jobs in the mill right there.
You sweat a lot out here, yep.
Look at the size of this log.
These are all redwoods, and we get these from people that have trees fall down in their yards. We don't cut them down because we're not into that. We get the logs donated from people.
Let's watch it being pulled right now. Look at this. Boy, that is something to see.
Now that hook on the end of that chain is called a becket.
See, these are words out of our past that people don't even know today.
That's right.
Now we've come inside the mill, and if it could get any better, it just has, Harvey. Look at this. And you said this is all original equipment from the 1800s.
This is a Joshua Hendy head rig, and it's got a 60-inch circular saw blade on the bottom and a 42-inch blade on the top. And it's all from, I'd say, the 1870s. Yeah.
Was this in the original Sturgeon's mill?
The original Sturgeon's mill. Wade Sturgeon paid $700 for this equipment back in 1913.
Wow, and it's still operating today and still operating pretty much the way it did back then. Nothing much has changed, has it?
Nothing much has changed. About every time we run, something breaks down and we fix it, and that's the way it used to be.
Yeah. Boy, this is, I don't know whether television picks this up or not, but just being here, Cameron, pull out good and wide so we can show everybody at home what we're experiencing here today. You got the steam going over here. You got this equipment moving, the saw going. This is, you promised me that this was going to be an experience. I had no idea what we were in for.
I just want to know if you're excited.
I'm excited.
Okay.
We're following the log. Oh my gosh. The size and the weight of this thing. You really have to be up close to it to appreciate just how big these things are.
What they're doing right now is rolling the log from the landing onto the carriage. And they're using what's called a bull wheel up there. And the man on that lever over there is controlling how that cable goes in and out. And you'll see that they'll simply be gesturing to him and telling him when to stop and when to start.
Wow, look at this. Boy, I'm showing respect for this log, too. I'm not getting too close to it. Look at him signaling. There it goes. Now we've moved to another angle to get the log approaching the saw. And to be our narrator during that, we've hooked up with, introduce yourself to everybody, Bob.
I'm Bob Sturgeon, the third generation of the Sturgeon's mill.
Your grandfather started this
That's
operation.
Right. That's right.
And you told me you got, bring it on down. Boy, this is going to be exciting. Can we move down just a little bit for a minute?
Sure.
Let's watch it hit the saw for the first time. Whoa. That's a big saw.
Yeah. It's also a crooked log. Crooked logs are not the best to make lumber out of.
So how do you adjust for a crooked log?
Well, there's quite a lot of waste at first in it. Till we get it kind of squared up.
Look at this. There's a lot of sawdust flying, too.
Yeah, it takes 1/3 of an inch every time it makes a pass through the saw. 1/3 of an inch saw curve.
Look at this thing coming. Look at this. This is just kind of what they got off the...
Yeah, that's just trash.
That's just trash. Look at this, Cameron. Can we step right out here? Look at this. Stop! Now we're sawing some lumber.
Yeah.
You better step back.
These logs all came from a widening job off of Highway 101 in Santa Rosa to the town of Windsor. These are all along the freeway there, and they've taken them down to widen the highway out. And we got the logs, some of them.
Now, when your grandfather started this back in 1914. Right, and then they moved it here.
In 1923.
They were following the tree.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Was this a profitable business? It was back then, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, they did, but also hunting and fishing played a big part of their lives. If there was a good abalone tide, they'd shut the mill down, everybody would go abalone fishing.
You're kidding.
Also deer season, yeah. That was more important than the sawmill.
Did you used to work here in the mill?
Ever since I was this big, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at this. I've never seen anything like this before.
I've done every job in this place.
Wow. Now we're going to see a board come off, aren't we? It's far enough down. Look at this. We're going to see a board pop off.
Yeah. Then it goes over to this edger over here.
Look at this. Wow. This is hard work, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Ah. You're going to pick this up?
Just this in.
Be careful. Wow. There's a lot of machinery here, but there's a lot of manual labor going on here as well.
Well, back when the mill was in full production, we had a lot of hydraulics in here. It wasn't so much manpower, you just push levers, but we've taken all that back out and put it like it was back in the 40s for just what we're doing now, so people can see the way it used to be done.
You have a lot of people standing back there watching. A lot of them are locals who have never seen anything like this.
They don't even know this place existed. It's sat dormant since 1964 until about 7 years ago. It just sat dormant. My dad, up until he passed away, used to come down and turn everything over and oil it and make sure everything still turned over. If it wasn't for him, probably wouldn't be here. And my partner, if it wasn't for my partner, Harvey, it might have been junk, went to the junk man.
Yeah.
But
So you worked on this over the years to keep it going as well.
I sure did, yeah. We got a group together in 1993. 7 of us went together. There's an old green pickup up there, and we each threw a $100 bill down on the hood, and we started with seed money of $700, which is exactly the same amount of money that Wade Sturgeon bought the original equipment for in 1913.
Wow. Look, this is a big piece. Look at the size of this piece they're cutting now. Look at that. That's a big piece.
Yeah, because it was crooked.
Oh, okay. It's a big, short piece because it's crooked. Look at this.
Now we're getting it squared up. We'll get some good lumber now.
I'm fascinated at this wood coming off this
I
log.
have to correct you there. Wood is for burning in a fireplace, lumber is for building houses.
So this is lumber.
This is lumber. Down there, where they're cutting the
Wait a minute. What's he doing with the water over there?
Well, the saw blade got hot, so they're just cooling it down. They use water for a lubricant on the blade.
How long do these blades last before they wear out?
This is from 1913, this blade is.
This blade?
This blade is, yes.
It's almost 100 years old.
That's right. 3 years, it'll be 100 years old.
Now, here's a guy who's not here by accident. Your name, sir, is?
Ron Sturgeon.
You're the third generation.
Third generation.
So you've been working in this place, doing this kind of work for a long time.
Well, not really a sawmill, but climbing trees I've been doing all my life.
Yeah.
I was too young to work in the mill when it was running.
But your grandfather started
Yes,
this.
yeah, my great-grandfather.
Your great-grandfather.
Yeah, so that'd be 4 generations.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something.
You know, when you're standing here, it's not that hard to think back to what it must have been like for your
yeah.
great-grandfather.
Well, especially experiencers. They work their butts off, boy, I tell you.
And how did you learn how to do something like this?
My father, he's the one that taught me, and by watching him, he knows everything there is about it, so.
We're just going to follow you as you're moving down the line, because your job is to do what?
I dog the logs so to hold it stabilized while the saw goes through it.
Yeah. So
And then roll it over
what's your job description called?
Block setter, dog setter.
You're just following you. Look at this thing. This is a beautiful thing to see. What do you do with this?
That's what I hammer the dogs in with.
Oh, okay. Boy, this is a learning experience for me. There is nothing lightweight or easy about any of this. This is all really, and look at this equipment. Look at this stuff.
This is the exciting part.
Where? Right here?
Here.
What's going to happen?
I'm going to flip this log over.
Wow. Boy,
This way we can just cut 2x12s all the way down.
at the end of the day, those guys went home tired.
You're not kidding.
Oh, look at this. That's called what?
These are the dogs. I'm dogging it up. That's what you call it. That's for when it gets real skinny so it doesn't fall over into the saw.
This is such a learning experience, just being here, learning this terminology and watching these guys work. Now we've come to the next step. Wow. What is this machine called?
It's the edger saw.
The edger saw. And what happens here?
When the plank comes off of the main saw, it's got 2 faces. Now we have to put the other faces on it or cut it to the width that we want.
Did you do this in real life, or you just come down here and do this 4 or 5 times a year?
Oh, I learned some of it when I was a kid, putting some of that stuff to use after a little refresher since then.
This is about the way they would have done it back when this place was operating, isn't
That's
it?
right. That's right. Nothing's changed.
This was an important position, though, wasn't it?
Well,
Right here.
I've been told by Bob that this is the money station. This is where you make something out of nothing, and so you get some additional lumber if you've got a good edgerman they can make money for you.
Another fourth generation sturgeon working here.
You betcha. If it wasn't for this end of the mill, we wouldn't sell no lumber because we're the ones who decide how long they should be for the order.
See, everybody here thinks they got the most important job.
This is the most important job.
It looks to me like, what are you doing here?
Back in the day, this stuff we're cutting off used to fall down onto a conveyor, take it out there in the burner and burn it. Since we don't have the burner anymore, we're cutting the ends off to 16 inches, throwing it over there in that truck, and they give it away for firewood.
Really?
Yeah.
This is good redwood.
Not today, it isn't.
All right, let's watch you. This is in your blood too, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember standing on this thing in 1963. I was 7 years old and throwing when this thing was really running, and throwing pieces like this in the little truck that used to sit there.
Really?
Yeah.
Has it changed much since the days when it was going full blast? There's a lot of energy here today.
We don't go as fast as they did. The guy that was on this trim saw was on this for 18 years. I've only been on it for 5.
Wow. So it was a well-oiled operation, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're just rookies compared to those guys.
Employed a lot of people.
Yes.
And was a big part of the economy in California.
It was. And then when they blew this whistle, a lot of times that's what everybody figured it was lunchtime, because that's when Sturgeon's mill quit, so they'd have lunch at the same time.
The whole community.
The whole community that could hear it.
There's nothing quiet about a lumber mill, though.
It's quieter than what I do for a living. I run chainsaws all day.
So you're staying in the lumber business?
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
Well, your great-great-grandfather would be proud of you, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. He would. He'd really like this.
Now we've done it. We've come underneath the old mill. Look at these old beams. These things date back to the very beginning. And look over here. Boy, we have hit the jackpot, Tom.
That's it.
Tell everybody where we are. I know we're under the mill.
That's it. This is where all the engines are underneath the mill. No matter how good a show those guys put on upstairs, they can't do it without Jason and I running the engines down here.
So this is the engine that runs all of that machinery up there.
This engine in particular runs the head rig where the saw is, the big saws, the carriage, and the 2 sawdust conveyors.
So there were always guys down here.
There was a fireman. They saw on the train they call him an engineer, but down here they call him a fireman, because the first thing he had to do in the morning was he started the boiler, and it was run on wood back then. Mm-hmm. Now our modern boiler runs on diesel. So
how do you communicate with the guys upstairs?
Well, we can't hear each other, so we have a series of whistle signals that we use. So when they're ready to go, they give us 2 short whistles. I'll return it, and then we start the engine.
Well, now the engine's going. Can you give them 4 short blasts, which means to run faster, or 3 short blasts to run slower?
We'll give them 4, and we'll get her going full speed.
All right, here we go. So they know. Oh, look.
We're ready to go.
Wow. Look at that thing going.
This is an 1880s Atlas steam engine, so it's over 100 years old, 130 years old.
How did you learn how to operate something like that?
Well, there's a couple people that have ran the mill that are still surviving. My Uncle Bob, I think you probably already met him.
Yeah.
He's a character.
So they passed this down to a new generation.
That's right. I'm a great-grandson of our founder, Wade Sturgeon. And I remember the mill running as a tyke, so I was in trouble all the time I was down here. Good place for a young boy to be.
Boy, what a day we have had here at Sturgeon's Mill. Fellas, I'm not sure I know exactly what I expected. But I don't think any of us have been disappointed. What do you call this place?
Well, we call it a working museum to show people how things used to be, the lifestyle, the working style, the grit, the hard work that people did.
Were there mills like this all over California?
All over there. I bet there was 200 mills in Northern California.
200 mills just like this?
Yeah.
20 around here when we were kids.
And was this considered a big mill or just an average size?
Yeah, average size. We cut about, on a good day, 20,000 board feet. On an average, we'd cut probably 15.
Yeah.
But we had also 12 men in the floor, which is really too many men for what we were cutting.
It employed a lot of people.
That's
and
right.
did a lot to the local economies all over Northern California. Your fathers were partners.
That's right.
You're partners now.
That's right.
And this comes back to life how often?
4 times a year, 4 weekends a year we run.
People can come by and see it just like we have today.
For free.
Yeah.
Wow.
We started out with maybe 150 people on a weekend. Now, at some weekends, we get 1,000 people.
And all these workers are volunteer workers, too.
Volunteer workers. They come here for the love of it.
They would pay us to come here to work.
Yeah.
They call this their family.
Boy,
they really like it here.
What a family this is. Boy, thank you so much for inviting us to spend the day with you. Boy, do I recommend this for our viewers to come see. If there ever was an example of it, Sturgeon's Mill is a fine example of California's gold. We've had a great day here at Sturgeon's Mill. Whoa!
Could have laid an egg under it, it wouldn't have broke it.
Oh my God. Look at the old truck in juxtaposition to the old mill over here. Boy, it all fits together. It's like a picture, a snapshot from the past. Boy, did we have fun and learn a lot at Sturgeon's Mill in Sonoma County. And I highly recommend you visit the old lumber mill for yourself and watch it in operation. Now, if you'd like to go on this particular adventure again, share it with family or friends, or more importantly, donate a copy to your local school or library, because this is definitely part of California's gold. Well, all you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
Ford and the Ford dealers are proud to have brought you California's gold. Discover the new ideas we're developing to make being out on the road more enjoyable and more economical. Like EcoBoost, the turbocharged engine technology that gives you the power of a larger engine with surprising gas mileage. Ford is committed to making your traveling fun, economical, and environmentally responsible.